These are men who pursue their own interests, despite the fact that this movement may be the most misunderstood on the planet. If you're here, I'll bet you know exactly what it's all about. You probably know what this movement is all about, but the media portrays it as being led by radical anti-feminists and misogynists, separatist and toxic. Thousands of men are happier than they have ever been since joining the crew. So if you're still not fully convinced, here are two stories to change it up. The first one is about a man who had a bad experience with online dating site. My good friend once had a girl with whom she had a very successful relationship at first. He received frequent texts from her, who also struck up conversations and expressed her admiration for him. Because he was a man of value, a gentleman, strong, attractive, successful, and a hard worker, she was completely drawn to him. He was even learning 2 languages at the time, so to be honest, it was a decent relationship up until this point. After that, though, he began to feel something for her, and even though they were dating, he wasn't completely smitten. He was in control of the situation, knew how to be excellent, and then left her asking for more, even in bed. "If you know what I mean," he told her, "I love you." And that's when the relationship started sinking. She started testing him like never before, flaking and demanding more and more. He made tons of concessions, but still she was never satisfied. Long story short, my friend lost sight of his language, his studies, his purpose, and most importantly, himself. He put her first, and that ruined him later on. He had many sleepless nights, anxiety, and very strong episodes of underperformance at work and low concentration. He felt absolutely destroyed. To make matters worse, she kept texting him to seek validation. Sadly, he spent months there hoping she would come back, but at some point, he got so sick that he broke free. He texted him out of the blue. You guessed right, X, but you know what he did? He replied politely but did not give in to the temptation. He was sure that she was going back to him because either her current relationship failed or she had an argument with his boyfriend. Therefore, she was there to check if my friend would succumb. Thankfully, he didn't. He told me he almost cried now that he finally followed his gut. He went from submissive to self-assured, from weak to strong, and from limited to limitless history. He started no fasting monk mode and restarted languages. Thanks to his new lifestyle, he attracted more valuable women, but after realizing they didn't bring enough to the table, he gave up on dating these days. He is a happy man who works constantly and invests his time wisely. Number 2, the second story goes like this. In 2015, I had a finance who broke up with me. Yes, that made me go into depression, but that was not the hardest part. What made me become a Mgtow was that this same ex came after me last year, and we started a relationship again. But this other guy didn't want her, so she tried to go back to me, a girl with plans. As you can see, I didn't accept it, so she called my mother and attacked her, saying terrible things about me. My mother almost fainted. She was completely blocked on all my social media, so she couldn't talk to me, but she went on Facebook and said that I sexually abused her, and I had a very hard time cleaning my name because women can lie all they want and, unfortunately, people believe them right away. While I was the one being harassed, she showed up at my workplace and made a scene. Eventually, she was diagnosed as obsessive-compulsive. I once thought all women were angelic beings, but this was a big reality check. Anyway, back to the story. I had a very hard time avoiding that kind of crazy, and nothing in society could help me. I was afraid to go to the police because they would probably turn against me, and some feminists took advantage of the situation to try to smear my name. Even though it was obvious I was the victim, I'm done. I will never have another relationship in my life. I was traumatized. I have almost 10 of her blocked numbers on my phone, and every time this phone rings, I'm afraid it could be her. As you can see, these two guys are in very different situations. They come back to you when their relationship fails and freely claim that you were the bad guy. If this is proven to be false, they face no social or legal consequences. As we mentioned, in the midst of a crisis, because men are told to be submissive and accept everything a woman says. They want multiple rights but no responsibilities. They feel highly entitled and can act with impunity even if they morally destroyed men. And the question is, why doesn't anyone talk about this? And don't get me wrong, that's not an excuse to legitimize men's weaknesses. It's just a reminder that men are humans too. To support us, like this video, please subscribe, and make sure to send this video to the person who needs to hear it the most.